Guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today I'm going to be using Dollar Tree surfaces or blanks to create some fun farmhouse DIYs. So this first one, I'll be using this mason jar. I think they come out with these every single year. They are only $1 at Dollar General, but when you wait until after spring, there's always a ton available, and I picked a ton of these up for only 10 cents recently. I'd say recently, but I think it's been months ago. I think it's actually before Christmas, but you can pick them up for super cheap. Sometimes you can get them for 50% off, so they're only 50 cents. I'm using this silkscreen transfer. This is something I picked up off Amazon, and yes, I have already used it before, but I love using these, and I love that they're reusable, so you can reuse them multiple times. I have noticed with some of the Amazon transfers, I don't think they will last a super long time just because the stickiness doesn't seem to be coming back no matter how many times I wash it or clean it. I'm obsessed with using Chalk Couture, but I will link the Amazon links in the description box below so you guys can check out these silkscreen transfers, but I just don't think that they last as long as the actual Chalk Couture ones. I just used some bright white chalk paste, and then I did pull this up and some of the paint wasn't wet or wasn't dry. It wasn't dry underneath the silkscreen transfer, so it kind of did peel up just a little bit, but I really like the way that this turned out. Either way, just definitely wait until your paint dries or use a wax to seal your surface before you use a silkscreen transfer. This next piece, I picked up this wooden ladder. This is from Christmas time, and it was 75% off when I picked it up, so I think it was only $1.20, which that is great because it is cheaper than Dollar Tree, and sometimes you can find some really cool stuff there. So I just kind of unscrewed these. They came out pretty easy, and then I just realized you could actually pull them out without screwing. So even better, I decided to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color white to paint the ladder, but I really do like the color that it already was. So if you didn't want to paint it, it looks good as is. I'm going to be using this Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. That is the color I used for the first DIY as well. I use this a lot. I don't normally show it, but I just decided to paint some of these wooden letters. I picked these up at Michael's. They came in a huge pack. I think they were $12, but you get multiple letters of the same. So I thought it was a pretty good deal instead of buying like 100 packages from Dollar Tree and only getting one letter of each. So I thought that worked out pretty well because I've used them a lot. I've used them for a ton of different projects. So I decided to paint Farm Fresh, and then I'm just gluing them to the ladder. And I decided like to kind of leave them a little distressed. It probably could have used 2 coats of paint, but I kind of liked it the way it was with just one. Using some eucalyptus, this is from Walmart. I decided to just put this down at the edges just to give this a little bit of something, and then I'm using a laced burlap bow, which was also off of Amazon, and I will link that for you too. The prices usually fluctuate on Amazon. I think I got them for under $10, and now it seems like the price seems to be rising to like $16, but I will link it for you guys if you want to check it out. And then that little chicken right there, that is also from Dollar General this year. If I say Dollar Tree, I really do mean Dollar General.
We watch the sun go down over the same old town like so many times before
Thing I picked up, this was after Christmas as well, is this tray. So the first thing I did was just unscrew the handles to this, and I'm just using a screwdriver, of course, and then once that is done, I decided to paint this entire thing. It would have been easier to sand it first and then paint, but it's a little chilly outside, so I decided just to do a couple extra coats of paint, and of course I'm using that Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss once again. So this was originally $10. I got it for 70% off, so this was only $3 for this huge tray, and I am so glad that I found it. It was the last one. So if you guys do have seasonal decor that you picked up, and you may not want to use it for Christmas, you can use a lot of their items all year round as long as there's not Santa or elves or something like that, but you could definitely use like any sort of surface all year long. I decided to try out this Waverly clear wax. I will probably never use this again. This was awful. Like, it was so bad. The creases, the lines, and I went back and forth on this for a while. Like, I only show you bits and pieces of painting and everything, but this was just a mess. It was like using Elmer's glue. I don't know if mine was old. It probably is because I don't use a ton of this, but it was awful. I ended up actually going back in and painting over the top of it with the color moss once again. So I don't know, maybe I used too much, maybe I didn't use enough, maybe it's just old. Once it was dry, I decided to use these Dixie Belle rub-on transfers. I picked these up last year and used the entire giant roll of them. So I had to buy another one. I have so many fun ideas for these. You can use these for so many different items. I love making signs. They come with smaller ones to do tiered trays. You can add these to frames, make your own decor. I think they range from like $23 to $25 for a roll of these, but it's definitely worth it when you can use like 10 or 12 different transfers and make 10 or 12 items for $23 or $24. So that is why I like to buy these larger ones. I know they're a little more costly, but like I said, you're not just using them for one project. You can use them for many.
Look at the same old stars, battle the same old wars, like so many times before. And I know that we're not perfect, but I'm gone.
Once this one was good to go, I just peeled it back, and I do peel the tops back pretty slow just in case some of that transfer does not go on the surface. I always do that just to make sure, because like I said, you're paying some good money for these. You don't want to mess it up. And then now I'm just adding the handles back, and I decided to just use this as a wall hanger instead of a tray. So that's why I decided on a rub-on transfer that goes up and down instead of sideways. I don't really have a ton of room for trays, so I try to make the best of what I can, and yeah, I think this turned out super cute.
Miss all that we had. Yeah, I know that we're not perfect, but I need this night for the last time. Stay, stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay. Stay. No, you're gone.
Next is this cutting board. This is also from Dollar General, and I think it came in a 2-pack. I just flipped it over, and it was $5 for the 2-pack. Did I say that already? I don't think so, but it came in a 2-pack for $5. Flipped it over, and I'm using a Chocateur silkscreen transfer. This one says life is better in the country, and I decided to use the color chalk paste in velvet and eucalyptus. My eucalyptus was kind of dry. With Chocateur, and once you open the jars of paste, they usually last 6 months before they kind of get gross and hard. I actually had my eucalyptus color for over a year, and it just kind of got hard. So that's pretty exciting. It was a little disappointing because it is one of my favorite chalk paste, so I will have to purchase another one of those. But I've done a ton of projects with this, and I did make the best of like the last round of using this. So I just did the bottom part, that little like floral greenery type in the eucalyptus color. But yeah, that is one of my favorite colors. And then of course the reveal of this is always priceless, but I love the way this turned out, and that's all I did for this. You can put this anywhere you want. It doesn't really have to be in the kitchen, because can you tell it's a cutting board? I don't know. Let me know.
In the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay.
Obviously it's from Dollar General as well. It was originally $4, but I know I picked it up when everything was 70% off, so it was under $2, which I think is a killer deal. I always pick up anything and lots of stuff from Dollar General. I've had this just for too long. I'm using the color Elephant in the chalk paste, and yes, that was also pretty dry. So I kind of added a little bit of water, so you saw some bubbles in it or some like lumps, and I did kind of smooth those out and get rid of those. But I'm using that along with the Waverly chalk paint in the color White, and of course this did need a couple coats. Now for this one, I'm going to be using some rub-on transfers. I'm going to be using that pig along with that Farm Fresh. I think this one is absolutely adorable. I picked these transfers off of Amazon. And if you can't find them or they're sold out, you can also check them out on Etsy. I don't know the cost and the price or who you can purchase them from, but if you type in Reprima Design rub-on transfers for furniture, they make a ton of different ones. I'm just obsessed with using the Farmhouse ones, and I had some left over. I picked these up last year, but I have still been able to find them on Amazon, which I'll probably end up picking up new ones as well because there's always so much you can do with these. And then I also love the little crafter stick that these rub-on transfers come with. It's probably a rub-on transfer craft stick. But anyways, that is it. So all I did for this is paint it and add a transfer. And how stinking cute is that? $1 for this chalkboard, and then I found this surface from Goodwill Outlet, of course, and it was $1.49. And then I just am going to be gluing the chalkboard right to the center, and then I'm using this silkscreen transfer. This is also off of Amazon, and it came with, I think, 6 or 9 different transfers. I will link this for you. These are some of my favorites. I love being able to find Farmhouse, although Chalkateur recently came out with their new book, and they have a ton of new Farmhouse and Easter, which I will be doing videos on very soon because they are so cute. But I decided that I was going to leave this as is. I love this surface that I found at Goodwill, and I love this chalkboard, and I didn't want to add anything too crazy to it in case I wanted to put like a vase or a flower pot next to it. I really didn't want a ton of greenery and a ton of anything on there. I think simple always looks a lot better.
We were never meant to last, but all the fun times we had, I'll never forget.
Obviously, still not a professional, but I found this sign at Dollar General. This was only, I think, $1.20 as well. And I did paint over the middle. It was like, come in, we're open, but obviously I wasn't even filming when I was painting, and I swear I was. I feel like I was like turning the camera on and off, unless my battery was dead and I was not paying any attention. But I just glued that little cow right to the center of this. That is also from Dollar General, but I think that white one was from last year. And then I'm just adding some of these greenery rub-on transfers, and these were from Dollar Tree. I want to say probably 2 years ago. They had that really cute eucalyptus wreath in the center of the rub-on transfers, and I've never been able to find that again. But I decided just to add a couple things here, and that is all I did for this. You can hang it up. You can do what you want with it. I don't know how to fill in the holes without the white being weird. I feel like when you use caulk or spackle or anything, it's always just like not that perfect white. So holes it is for the cow. But you guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love if you consider sticking around and subscribing. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!
We'll always share